My dear friends, how many cries echo unheard behind the walls of luxury homes? How many dreams are shattered under the weight of false gratitude? This is the story of Kinshasa, a city of contrasts, where towering mansions cast shadows over modest homes, and where one woman's journey from humility to heartbreak will leave you breathless. In the bustling heart of Kinshasa, where the streets hummed with life and the air smelled of street food and ambition, lived a young woman named Lumeya. She worked as a cleaner at Golden Palm, a high-end restaurant frequented by the city's elite. Her days were spent mopping floors, scrubbing tables, and polishing silverware, but in the quiet moments between shifts, she poured her soul into poetry, scribbling verses in a small, tattered notebook she kept tucked in her uniform pocket. Lumeya carried herself with quiet dignity, a strength inherited from her father, a humble schoolteacher, and her mother, a resilient vegetable vendor at the local market. One fateful evening, as the restaurant buzzed with laughter and clinking glasses, Kofi, a wealthy regional director at one of the city's largest banks, noticed her. He had dropped his gold-plated pen, and Lumeya, who was cleaning nearby, picked it up and returned it with such grace that it caught his attention. "There's something different about you," he mused, his eyes lingering on her. Despite warnings from his colleagues about marrying beneath his status, Kofi pursued her relentlessly, dazzling her family with expensive gifts and grand promises. The courtship was like a dream. He would wait outside the restaurant after her shift, driving her home in his sleek black Mercedes. Though her parents were concerned about the vast difference in their social status, they prayed this union would give their daughter a better life. 3 months after their lavish wedding, the illusion shattered. One evening, Kofi returned home to find Lumeya and her mother watching a local drama in his elegant living room. His face twisted with disgust. "What is this?" he exploded. "You've turned my house into a servant's quarters. Look at you both, sprawled on my imported leather sofa as if you're still in your roadside home." When her mother tried to explain, he silenced her with a sneer. "In this house, we don't behave like poor people. Save your market woman habits for your husband's mud house." That night, after humiliating Lumeya's mother and forcing her to leave in shame, Kofi revealed his true nature. "I lifted you from scrubbing toilets to living in a mansion, yet you still behave like a cleaner," he spat. "Did you think marrying me would erase your background?" The abuse became a daily ritual. Each morning, as he adjusted his expensive suit before leaving for work, he would remind her, "Don't forget where I found you, mopping floors and cleaning tables. Your uniform is still hanging in that restaurant storage room." When her father's roof leaked during the rainy season, Kofi paid for the repairs but used it as a weapon. "Your father couldn't even fix his own roof," he scoffed. "I had to save him from drowning in his sleep." During dinner parties with his wealthy friends, he delighted in her humiliation. "My wife," he would announce, "used to clean the very restaurant where we met. Now look at her, trying to act like she belongs in our circle." His friends would laugh while Lumeya forced a smile through her tears. When her mother fell ill and needed medicine, he made her beg. "Your market woman mother probably got sick from sleeping in that dump house," he taunted. "Should I buy her a mosquito net too? List all the things your poor family needs, let me show everyone how charitable I am." Even her poetry was not spared. Finding her notebook one day, he read her verses aloud mockingly. "A cleaner's daughter trying to be a writer? Know your place, Lumeya. Some of us were born for greatness, others for scrubbing tables." Every time she tried to defend her family's dignity, he would remind her, "Without me, you'd still be wearing that ugly cleaner's uniform, smelling of bleach and leftover food. I made you somebody, never forget that." My friends, how many women endure such humiliation because a man paid for a roof over their heads? How many dreams are mocked simply because they were born into humble homes? One Sunday afternoon, Kofi's friends visited with their wives. As Lumeya served them drinks, one of his colleagues remarked on how well-trained she was. Coffee smirked. Of course, she learned service at Golden Palm, didn't she? Once a servant, always a servant. At least now, she serves in designer clothes that I bought, not that cheap uniform. That same evening, when her parents called to check on her, Coffee grabbed the phone. Your daughter is living like a queen now, he boasted. Remember how you used to eat bread and beans? Now she dines at fancy restaurants, well, not cleaning them anymore. He laughed at his own cruel joke. The final straw came during a dinner party at their home. As Lumeya arranged the plates, an old habit from her restaurant days, Coffee smirked at his guests. See how natural she looks doing that. You can take the girl out of the restaurant, but you can't take the restaurant out of the girl. That night, something inside her broke. As she stared at herself in their expensive bathroom mirror, her father's words echoed in her mind. Money can feed your stomach, but it can't nourish your soul. At what point does gratitude become chains that bind? After the guests left, Coffee was particularly cruel. The sight of her arranging plates with such ease had reminded him of her past. Look at you, he sneered, loosening his designer tie. All these months in luxury, yet you still move like a common cleaner. Did you see how embarrassed I was? I didn't marry you to have a house help. Or have you forgotten? Should I pay you a salary too? How much did you earn scrubbing tables? He grabbed her poetry notebook from under their bed. And this nonsense you write, who do you think will read the thoughts of a cleaner? Your father couldn't afford to send you to university, and now you think you're a writer. When she reached for it, he slapped her hard across the face. This is what happens when you show kindness to poor people, they forget their place. Then came the words that would change everything. Maybe I should send you back to Golden Palm. At least there, you knew your place. But this time, something was different. When he raised his hand again, Lumeya caught it mid-air. The fear in her eyes had vanished. In its place stood something stronger, dignity, finding its voice. My father may be poor, she said quietly, but he never had to raise his hand to prove his worth. Enraged by her defiance, Coffee grabbed a knife. I'll teach you and your worthless family a lesson, he roared. But years of cleaning floors had made Lumeya quick on her feet. She dodged, scrambling toward the guest bathroom, the only room with a strong lock. You ungrateful rat, he raged, stabbing at the door. I should have left you with your mop and bucket. Through the door, she could still hear his venom. Your father still rides that rickety motorcycle to school. Your mother still sits in the sun selling her rotten vegetables. Without me, you're nothing but a common cleaner, but fate had other plans. The commotion drew their new neighbor, Mukendi, along with other residents. Together, they broke down the front door. So this is how you treat the woman you claim to have saved from poverty. Mukendi's voice cut through Coffee's rage. By trying to send her back to her mop and bucket. They found Lumeya trembling in the bathroom, while Coffee, knife still in hand, looked like a madman. She should be grateful, he shouted. Do you know where I found her? Cleaning tables. Look at what I made her. But Mukendi stepped forward. No, Coffee. Look at what you tried to break, a woman whose only crime was being born poor. As they led her away, Coffee's last words rang through the mansion. Go back to your father's leaking house. Go back to your mother's market stall. Let's see if your cleaner's salary can buy you designer clothes. But Lumeya didn't look back. That night, in Mukendi's home, attended to by his elderly housekeeper, who treated her with more dignity than her wealthy husband ever had. Lumeya finally let her tears fall. Clutching her poetry notebook, she whispered, I may have been born poor, but my parents gave me something money can't buy, self-respect. My people, how many women endure abuse because a man once fixed their father's roof? How many souls are crushed under the weight of false gratitude? Lumeya's story is a reminder that no amount of wealth can buy dignity, and no amount of cruelty can break a spirit rooted in self-respect. If this story moved you, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Let's break the silence and stand together against abuse. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to Echoes of Africa for more powerful stories that resonate with our shared humanity. Until next time, remember, your worth is not defined by your circumstances, but by the strength of your spirit.